And I'm going to formally start right now. So, welcome everyone this evening to Day on a Farm with Erika and Doug Fossen. My name is Rachel. I am a farm advisor with the Kootenay and Boundary Farm Advisors, and we are an agricultural extension program. We do educational events in the field and virtually, and offer farmers one-on-one support and basically adapt as needed to the agricultural sector. So if folks out there are looking to be connected with the agricultural sector or looking for resources, they can reach out to the Kootenay and Boundary Farm Advisors. Without further ado, it's my pleasure this evening to welcome Doug and Erika Fossen. We have hosted many field days at Doug and Erika's ranch on topics such as irrigation, on cover crops, fertilizer, weed control, biodiversity, you name it. Doug and Erika, you try almost everything in the toolbox when it comes to agriculture, even airplanes, which is totally amazing. And Doug and Erika have been doing outreach with Ag in the Classroom to help extend their agricultural knowledge and passion with the younger generation, and also to help just members of the public better understand what a year on the ranch means. So I'm going to hand it over to Doug and Erika, and they're going to take us away for a year on the farm. And we hope that anybody watching this here is a little bit inspired and are also free to share this with their children, with their friends and their network to help educate folks about what it means to ranch in British Columbia. So please take it away.
Great.
Do you want to start or do you?
Thank you, Rachel. Yeah, I can start. So this is our family, and we live near Rock Creek, BC, which is 40 kilometers east of Soyuz, BC.
And this whole slideshow, we present it to the Summer Institute, to young teachers who are getting credits towards their degrees. And it's just an example of how I think we've taken pictures over the years and sort of to try to tackle some of the issues in farming and explain what we do on our farm. And we just go through a life cycle of our ranch. This is our home, our ranch, and our family. We have 3 girls, and our oldest daughter is now married and lives up in High Prairie, Alberta. And they have 2 little boys, and our middle daughter is just finishing up university, and she's planning on getting married in June, and her fiance are coming back to the ranch here to ranch with us, so that's very exciting. And our youngest daughter is just also taking agriculture in Saskatoon in her 2nd year.
So we start basically, I guess, in the beginning of December, I'd say, right? And right now, our cows in the beginning of December would be finishing off their fall grazing.
So as the season winds down, these cows are just recovering from having their babies with them all summer. We wean the calves off them, and then we put them back out on some stockpile grazing. And so stockpile is grazing that hasn't been grazed the year before or during the year. So it's not sort of creamed off stuff. It's got to be pretty good quality grass. This is just pictures of us gathering off range, looking for the last stragglers.
Sometimes we'll get a call in January 10th and they'll say, "Oh, I saw a cow up somewhere." And so we have to go find her. We know she's missing, but when it's a big area, it's very hard to find them.
We also like to explain to people that this is why we struggle having grass-fed beef, because we do live in a climate where we get lots of snow in the winter. And we get 4 nice seasons, but we definitely, by about the middle of December, we get usually about a foot of snow, and that stops us from grazing.
So we try and not get too short-nerved with people who ask if our beef is grass-fed because we have to explain that we have to feed them.
On this picture, where we live is a natural south-facing slope. So it's open grassland. And you can see in this picture, there's also on the north slopes are forested, and that's what a lot of our area is. It's interesting when we explain to non-ranching people, sometimes they think that we've cleared all this land, but it is natural grassland, and grassland is the most endangered ecosystem in Canada, or maybe even the world.
So this is how much snow we can get. Thankfully, this year we didn't have that much, but this is
More like an average,
more like an average
normal
year.
year.
So then our cows are looking at us like this. Where is the feed? Please feed us.
So about the middle of December, we start feeding the cows. We sometimes start on some hay, and then usually we start getting into our silage. Um, this we our bulls we feed separately across the highway, and we do ivermectin them. We always um, equate it to if you have 400 or 500 animals and they start rubbing on your fence, if they had really bad lice, they can do a lot of damage in your uh, all your yard and on your fences. So we do use ivermectin to control them from itching on everything.
So this is our silage pit, and we'll get more into what silage is and how we put it up. But
Basically, the bottom half of the pit, which is the darker green, that's our grass and alfalfa that we put up earlier in the year. And then the top part of the silage pit is the corn. So it's kind of a yellow color.
and that's the whole plant chopped into tiny little pieces to make into feed.
The neat thing about silage is that it's the opposite of compost. So compost, you want to add oxygen to make it break down. Silage, you pack it down with a tractor, drive on it, push all the oxygen out, and then seal it with plastic and or use tires on top. And that's stops the fermentation. And sometimes I think people think that silage is like breaking down and it stinks, but it actually becomes stable after a couple of months, and then the nutrients all stay the same. So they've actually done tests where they've had silage pits that they've opened up 20 years later, and the nutrient value stays the same. Whereas hay, if you have it in a barn, even if it's covered, it slowly starts to lose those vitamins and nutrients.
So it's basically like canning food for people. It's a preserving.
Or sauerkraut.
Yeah.
So in with our ration, we'll mix in our alfalfa and grass and corn, and we sometimes blend in some straw and hay. And then also we
This gray stuff is mineral.
put our mineral on top, and then we put a little bit of barley sometimes for our younger animals. So if we have some first time or second time mothers that are raising babies, putting all their energy into milk, we have to up their protein a little bit, and that's why we would add some grain, which is basically grass that you've let mature and then harvest the grain head off of it, seed. This is our mixer wagon.
Breakfast mixer.
So it allows us to blend in straw, and this helps us to our grass and alfalfa can be very rich in nutrients, and in a cow's stomach you want to add a layer of straw
Fiber.
to sort of
Slow it down in their rumen so they can utilize the good nutrients.
yeah, so it's just a neat way that we can blend it all together and get maximum use out of all our available forage.
So that's the mixer wagon and the tractor.
And we had the blade on the front of it for pushing snow at the same time.
Yeah. I have
So
a
this is
question
Yes.
for your mixing. How often are you mixing every day?
yes. Yeah, so we're doing about that wagon, we do about 4 loads a day. So we'll put
Every
it
day, 4 loads.
so
So
we'll
how many tons of feed? are we
about
feeding?
like 9,000 pounds in each load.
So like
So,
almost 40,000 pounds every
and
day.
the
Wow.
so 20, yeah, 20 tons. And then when you do the math on that, if you said $300 a ton, uh, that's that is that 6,000?
Yeah.
$6,000 a day in feed. So it's very important for us to do a real precise, like where we weigh the feed, we know exactly what's in it, we've got that feed tested, and then we're metering it out in a ration to make our cows happy. Because it can be very expensive to be feeding the wrong ingredient.
Or dumping out too much and all they do is lay on it and mush it into the ground. Like
So,
that's real
yeah.
expensive.
So how many cows are
So
you
then he,
feeding?
We're right now we've about 400
mother.
mothers, about 20 bulls, and about 170 calves.
Okay,
So
so yeah, a
yeah,
lot of cows. So how,
almost
yeah.
600 animals.
And so how long does that take you every day?
When they're in a smaller numbers of fields, probably like 2 hours. I can do it fairly quickly if I'm in a panic and trying to go to town. Um, but probably realistically,
Like three and a
the
half.
morning, like
Yeah.
4 hours to mix all those loads and trundle them all over wherever they have to go.
So then we
Wow.
go down in a line, and like about every 15 feet or 20 feet, then he drops a pile about the size of a picnic table. And then they circle around and eat it. Or we feed into bunks, which are like 60 feet long.
Yeah, and so we've got some portable bunks that we can move around as well. And we found that younger animals do better on those bunks because they don't waste as much. And when they
Are hungry
hungry,
again.
they go back, there's more feed available. And they're not like, yeah, it's
They can find the feed and it's still there. Whereas the older cows, they just literally inhale it and then they're good for the day. But
it's kind of
yeah,
like having a bunch of kids running a potluck. Um, they and then asking them to go eat some more out of it afterwards after they've
it's
scattered it all over the place.
all over the place. So then we start calving. So this year our start date was February 12th. And yeah, so then we wait for all the 390 or 400 cows to have a calf.
And this cow's calving, and you can see that the proper presentation is for the front feet to come forward and down, and then the head next. So that's something we're always watching for to see if it's a breech backwards. Um, and
So
so,
every 2 hours in the daytime, we go out and drive through the cows on a little side by side and just see who's starting to calve, who's calving, who's calved.
and if it's dry ground like this, it's relatively easy. They can do it on their own. If it's snowy or muddy, then we have to start bringing them into the barn. It's very important for the cow to get up and start licking their baby off very quickly. Uh, and that gets any placenta that might be stuck on their face or over their head. Uh, we always like to joke that even a true vegetarian needs a little shot of beef every once in a while.
So a to ward off predators and stuff, a cow is naturally wants to eat her placenta, and then it also does give her a really good boost of nutrients.
Because naturally, a cow might leave the herd for a few days to go have her baby and kind of hide out. So it's important for them to eat that placenta to give them the energy they need to before they can come back for feed, kind of thing.
Great video. This is just absolutely appetizing,
Yeah.
audience nature.
You're getting right into it.
Yeah, I'm getting right into it, but absolutely fascinating. I just think it's so impressive that, I mean, just mostly just the two of you are calving out that many animals. That's a lot. like you said, you're every 2 hours doing a
Yeah, we do
loop.
our last check at like 10:30 at night, and then if it's cold, we'll get up at 5 in the morning, but we do sleep, so that's good.
Yeah, and this picture was of our hot box. So we've got a heater that blows into this. It's got like a serrated floor. And it's interesting that calves, their largest organ in their body is their lungs. So the quickest way to warm them up is through warm air and breathing it in.
Not a heat lamp, which many we used to just have heat lamps on them, but then we realized no, they need to breathe warm air like a little incubator to get warm.
This was one night I went out. There's actually four calves in there, and I tootled out, started my check. There was a cold calf. I think it was minus 25 or something. So I roared him back in, threw him in the box, went back out, found another one, roared it back in, put him in the box. Did that four times, and and then I went out. I think I got Erika or something
Yeah,
to come and help. We rounded up all the cows, brought them in, and then I had to
but then
remember.
I was freaking out because a mother cow won't take the wrong baby. They'll like, and it could have been a disaster. But thank goodness he somehow remembered. Oh, that's 552's kid, and that's 31's kid,
So
and
then we threw them all back with their moms, and everybody was happy, and they all got going. And this is our daughter helping a calf nurse. Sometimes we just need to stand them up and get them hooked onto the boob and make sure they get that colostrum in the first 6 hours because it's very important they get colostrum to get a real good start on life.
yeah, if a calf doesn't get colostrum, it's a downhill trajectory.
Yeah, they get sick later on in life, and it really sets up the whole building blocks for that calf over its lifetime, which is kind of neat.
So, normally in the years when it's snowy, we will be cleaning pens every morning and getting ready for the day. Every morning we kick out calves, tag the calves, and kind of move them farther from the barnyard. This year, with such nice weather, we actually didn't have that many cows and calves come through the barn, which was really lovely.
This is a calf that we probably had to help at some point. And usually we rub them with straw to get them going. Like if they're sort of slow moving and not breathing very well, you really vigorously rub their backs, and that gets them woke up and start going.
Oops.
This is a little baby having his first nurse. It's very important for us to select for cows that have really good udders. Um, and
Because if they have bad teats, then we're probably going to have to help hook the calf up. And then that's just one more job we have to do that we really don't have time for. If they can do it themselves, then that's absolutely necessary.
so this is our ear tagging. You'll see we put a, does this one play?
Yeah. So when they are a day old, then we give them their identification tag and their RFID tag, CCIA tag, and put a little rubber band around their testicles if they're a bull, because we want to turn them into steers so that they are not trying to breed things. And we're a commercial cattle operation, so we're not breeding purebred animals for sale being breeding bulls. We're making them to be meat. So we want them to not have testicles. Anything else you want to add about that?
No. We get lots of wildlife around this time of year. It's funny, every year the eagles come back, and it's kind of like a salmon run.
It's a placenta run. So bald eagles will probably have like 8 bald and juvenile bald eagles on the ranch, and they never bother the calves, but if a cow leaves the placenta, they will come and get it.
And
They
the
just
the
love it.
cows always, like this cow, they're always, some get a little worked up and try to chase after them, but usually they don't don't do any harm. These are some projects that we did. SARPL on our farm, which is Species at Risk Partnership on Agriculture Land. So we put in some water troughs and fencing for the Lewis
Lewis
woodpecker.
which is in the top right corner there. And they like to have little sapling trees to nest in. And they are on the red list, I think, in
Yeah,
BC.
so this is another bit of wildlife on the ranch. Our badgers, we like them because they do eat gophers. This was one I was talking to.
Come on.
Might come.
Hi, Mr. Badger. You're not going to eat me, are you? Eat.
It was funny because he was kind of nodding his head at me.
There was a run on gophers. How many gophers can you eat in a day? That's a big.
Our internet is slow, but
I want all the gophers gone.
he says, I want all the gophers gone by something.
Yeah, get him out of this field.
Done by the time you're done today, okay?
But we have badgers that usually make a pass through every 2 to 3 years. So our gopher levels get quite high, and then a badger moves through and usually helps clean them out for us. So we really like having badgers around. This is the spring. So as the cows get a little bit bigger, we sort of group them into ages. So when they get about 2 weeks old, we stop adding babies to that group. We equate it to like classrooms. You wouldn't put the kindergarten students in with the grade 12s. So these are just all babies running up the hill. They ran down over the hill and then they're coming back up. But it's very important to keep moving them onto clean ground to keep them healthy and growing.
So there was like 60 calves in this little group.
Downhill, but coming back up.
And there was one mother standing with it. It's quite funny. They're super cute this time of year.
This was just some of our water troughs that we've put in through the environmental farm plan. So we're always trying to move water to different areas on the farm so we can feed cows in different areas and graze different areas.
Clean water it sounds like an obvious statement, but if you don't have clean, fresh water for even calves to take a drink of, your health and your weights go actually way down. Like it's really imperative. So these little bowls that a calf can come up to and have a drink to are really important. These go 8 feet down into the ground and take the heat from the earth and then keep them from freezing. It's called thermosync.
This is just looking down on our farm. So
There's our silage pit.
There's our silage, and our farm is we own about 2,300 deeded acres. In 1976, mom and dad bought our farm, and it was just our home farm here. And we had about 60 cows when we started farming in 1976. And then we slowly added land over the years. We bought property in 1989, some in 2006, and some in 2017. It's interesting. I think people think that the cattle industry, you can just expand your numbers and all of a sudden, poof, you have 400 cows. But if you do the math that we've been farming here my whole life, so 49 years, our numbers, we've gained 7 cows a year for 49 years.
And we've been trying. So it's a slow grind.
Yeah, we've been buying cows and keeping replacement heifers and really working at it. And it's still only 7 cows more every year. So that's why when people ask, well, how long are the cattle prices going to stay high? There's been some major damage done to our industry, and it is going to take a long time for it to recover and get the numbers back up to where those prices would start settling a little bit.
It's not something that people will just be like, oh yeah, let's get into beef, because it just takes a major thing to get into it.
So these cows, this time of year, we're sorting, which in this picture, but also right now, we've just sorted off the black cows from the black white-faced cows or the red cows, and we're getting them ready for breeding. So these more Angus cows get bred to Hereford bulls. A Hereford is a red bull with a white face. And so we get a real advantage in crossbreeding those breeds together. And so we're selecting which cows go to a certain range and they go with certain bulls, and that's what we're doing right now.
Here is just starting to round up. I think we'd be branding in the next little bit. So on our ranch, one of the only things for identification is a brand for cattle, which we're registered for.
And again, it's just one of those things that people wonder why you brand, but it's the only way to prove ownership of cattle. So if you don't have a brand on a cattle, if it's slick, I could brand it and I could steal your cow. Which it sounds kind of funny, but it's a legal entity, ownership of those cattle. This just kind of shows the steep terrain that our farm is on.
So this is rounding up pairs in end of April. Cows everywhere. This field and the brand.
And we try to brand in sort of smaller groups, like we'll do about 100 or so in a group. And that just keeps we can do it fairly quickly and get them back out with their mums. This is just showing our seeding. We do what's called zero-till seeding. And so what that is we're drilling right into the sod or into the stubble. And we do use some Roundup to control the weeds. If you don't do tillage, you have to use chemical to do that. I don't know if there's, it didn't have the. So the big thing is on our hills, because they're so steep, we're prone to like rain showers where we'll get 1.5 or 2 inches of rain in a short period of time. And if our slope was worked up like a garden, we could lose a lot of our soil. Also from wind and being super dry. And the big thing on our farm from our own calculations is 1 liter of Roundup saves us about 40 liters of diesel. So
because we'd have to run over it with a disc 1 or 2 times, and then a cultivator, and then a seeder. And you might have 4 or 5 passes there.
And so it's just one of those neat things that we always like, and people think different things about Roundup, like it
has a bad
name, but in my mind, I've made that choice, and I'm saying I would rather use 1 liter of Roundup if I can save 40 liters of diesel. And that's just the choice that we're making as farmers.
And we were driving by and we saw a field that was worked up, and it was just, this is why they used to call it the dirty 30s, because everything was worked up and the wind would come up and all your soil would blow away. So there is great advantages to zero till in saving your soil and adding organic material.
We do use our horses for rounding up cattle. A lot of our government range is very rugged, and horses are the easiest way to get around.
So then we'll start rounding up our bulls. And
this was about on May
plays
the 10th of May.
They're quite noisy. They make a cool noise. Hopefully it'll play here. They're
So we run about we're aiming for about 6% bulls now. So we're on every 100 cows would have 6 bulls out there. So we run about 24 bulls, and the black bulls are the black Angus, and the red ones are the Hereford bulls. So we bring those in about the 7th of May to 10th of May, and then we're putting them out on pasture with the selected cow-calf pairs.
a cow's gestation is the same amount of time as people, so it's 286 days. So if we put our bulls out on May 7th, then we have about February 12th or 13th for a start date.
We would always like to calve later on grass, but because we go to range around the 10th of May, we need to have those calves big enough to travel and get out and go to work. So that's why we sort of have to, we're just squished in between a little bit too cold in February and being turned out in May.
So this is a Black Angus cow bred to Hereford, and then they make this black ball decaf.
This was a 4-H day we brought kids over, and we were teaching them how to vaccinate and brand. And
this is a tipping table where you tip the calf sideways, and then it's just kind of secure. All the kids working.
This is our range over in Midway, and this is what a lot of our grassland looks like. It's just
bunch grass,
steep and bunch grass, and then into the trees. Some is open, some's forested.
We use dogs, Kelpie dogs. We really like them.
And I'm thinking for clarification for our audience, Doug and Erika, just like explaining what it means putting your cows out on range, because I feel like when I started first learning about this, quite a while ago, it was kind of surprising to me that you're essentially just putting the cows out into the wilderness. Is that?
Yeah, and this is government land that we have a license for.
So we pay for it.
So we have a 25-year license, which allows us to graze in a certain area. So a logger might have the rights to log in this same area, but we probably have the sole rights in a certain area to graze cattle or livestock. And it's a large area. We use 3 sort of different ranges on our own place.
Some is out our back door, but some we have to haul to. So this is like 20 kilometers away. So we'd have to load up all our cows and put them out on range.
and it covers about 30,000 acres of this government land that we use every summer. And it's our responsibility to keep the fences up around it. And
the advantage is it's very reasonable because you don't have to own the land. You just sort of rent it off the government. But the disadvantage is it's very rugged and is over a huge area. Whereas, in Alberta, you might own your land, but this is a way to make your land base bigger, but it's rugged.
Yeah,
and then the animals are essentially, I think that's what's amazing to me. Like they're kind of out free ranging completely on their own accord. Like, you have an idea of where they might be, but the cows are essentially walking around in the mountains.
Yes,
exactly.
And it's interesting. Like I think there's a big misconception out there too that the land that we use could grow like lettuce or something for people, but the only real use for that land is grazing livestock. Like it's rugged land, and the cattle go out there and turn it into protein for people. And it's just
the slogan is turning sunshine into protein, sunshine and grass into protein. Like this would not be used for anything else other than cattle. So that's exciting.
In 2022, we won the Environmental Stewardship Award for our ranch, so
For
that
the
was very
provincial,
exciting.
for BC, we won it, and then we won the national one too. So that was very exciting. We're very proud of that. So this is our land in the summer.
And so we start growing, you can see the corn crops. We start growing feed when the cows are out on range in the summer. That gives us a chance to start growing feed for them in the winter.
So this is,
we farm about 250 acres that we irrigate and grow crops on. And we grow corn for probably 2 to 3 years, mostly on a field, and then we switch to grass and alfalfa for probably 5 or 6 years. And then we also grow some grain crops as well.
so that's corn.
And then
This is grass and alfalfa being cut.
and so this was first cut silage that we chop. So we swath it when it's green, and this machine sucks it up, chops it into a million pieces. It's like a big glorified paper cutter
Blows it into the big, this thing
into the wagon.
called a high dump.
And then that high dump lifts it up and dumps it into the back of the 5-ton truck. And that truck then hauls it home to the silage pit.
That's corn being chopped. Same thing, into tiny little pieces.
And the corn, we chop the entire crop as well. So it has the kernels and the plants and leaves and everything in it. It's kind of neat. The corn has such a neat base on it. It's just a neat root.
So then the truck comes to our silage pit, what you saw in the winter, and then it dumps it there. And then this tractor keeps putting it on top and driving over it.
And that's what packs it down and makes it into silage.
And then we pull our big roll
Plastic
of
over
plastic
it.
over top.
And the neat thing with covering a pit like this, like if we did it in individual round bales, we would probably have to do about 2,000 of those little bales. And this plastic only is about $600 worth of plastic, and it covers almost 1,000 tons of feed. So it's a very efficient way to put up feed.
This we have to feed in bales. Wasn't it like $20,000?
Yeah, about $20,000 worth of plastic if we did it individually.
Wow, that's a huge difference.
Yeah, it is.
So it's a little bit more of a pain because you have to haul it all to the
one
pit,
place,
to the location, and then we have to sort of strategize where we're going to feed those nutrients out to get them back on the field.
Doug's a pilot, so he enjoys, well, he likes saving a vehicle and finding cows with his airplane.
So again, this is just some of the, like our range area here that we fly over, and it just, you can spend a lot of hours wearing out a pickup, driving all over the place and not see much, but with an airplane, it's just a really handy way to hunt the cows down.
And then we'll go there with our truck and trailer and horses when we know where they are.
So we do use some antibiotics for our cattle. And
this is a bull with a really sore foot, an infected foot.
And the big thing is, it's just when there's on our farm, we don't treat
everybody
for no reason. Say for farmers, it does cost. We don't want to give shots when we don't have to, but when there's something that we know we can save and prevent it from suffering, we sure will give it some antibiotics. And then there's a withdrawal period on all our drugs, like if penicillin or liquamycin, it's on the label, but it would be like 45 days before you could butcher that animal. So there's quite big withdrawal periods to keep that out of the meat chain.
So there's a thing called verified beef, And basically, as a ranch, you apply and say what you're going to do and you follow the guidelines. And then, um, yeah, that kind of shows your market that you are very conscientious of your withdrawal times and what you do for the health of your animal.
This was just doing biz. You're out on the range riding, but now with cell phones, you have to do business while you're out working too. Have your cell phone.
We really enjoy riding as a family and gathering our cows and moving from pasture to pasture with our girls. It's one of our fun things to do. So in the fall, then we start gathering these. So what was a small baby calf now turns into this with grass and sunshine. So this is a steer calf still nursing off its mom, like beginning of October. And this is where we start gathering our harvest, our calf crop.
And those steers would weigh about 600 pounds in October. So they're big babies. They still like their moms, and then that's when we wean them off. A lot of times we'll do a sale for our steers in September, where we
Pre-sell
pre-sell them on an electronic sale.
on the internet.
And the neat thing about cattle are they're the only commodity that you get paid more for a bigger lot in that's very uniform. So if you're buying lumber and you bought 1 million board feet of lumber, you would have to give that person a deal. But with cattle, you get paid a premium for having a uniform group of cattle.
So this is all the steers together, ready to go on the liner. We'll load a liner, about 100, 600 to 620 weight calves go on one liner. Then we start kicking cows out again. Oh, yes, and our children love to work with young horses. So here they're like probably saddling this horse for the first or second time.
And then we usually the cows and calves will graze some of our hayland when they come home from range in the middle of October. We then, after their calves are weaned off, that's when we drive them over to some land where they spend those last like November and December, hopefully on some
Stockpiled
grass.
So that's Mount Baldy in the background there.
The last few years we've been doing some corn grazing. So then when we do get enough snow where they can't graze grass anymore, then we can graze some corn.
So after they spend like the month of November and maybe the first week in December, then we'll go into corn grazing. And like last year, we grazed corn until December 27th or something before we had to start feeding. It's kind of blurry, but there was like 390 cows in there, all hiding, hiding in the corn. And then we start cleaning, get ready for the next year.
Yeah, so we scrape out our corrals and haul that out onto the fields and then start bringing in some new sawdust to clean things up and get ready for another calving in the spring again.
So that is a year in the life of our cattle ranch.
A lot of information dumped on you too in a short time, but any questions?
Well, that certainly was a whirlwind. Thank you so much. It really goes to show how much time and energy goes into growing a cow, because how much weight are those small cows putting on every day?
They're 7 months old and they go from 100 to probably 620. So they're putting on
500 pounds in.
Yeah.
Anyways, you don't have to
Probably
do the
like
math, but
pound and a half a day.
pound and a half a
Quick
day.
math.
So
Pound and a half a day, probably.
Yeah,
what
about a
really
pound and a half a day.
showed with the cycle is like all the effort into the calving, which is huge. So and then obviously feeding them through the winter, and then you're shooing them all off onto range just so then you can start producing all that food for them to then get them through winter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, a
the
vicious cycle.
yeah, like the winter you're spending, like you said, up to almost 4 hours a day feeding them. It's nice that they get off to range because then it's almost like you need that time so that you can then stockpile all their food again for the next winter. I mean, yes, it
Yes.
is
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
the
always amazing when you pile up all that feed and it's just amazing that they eat through it all. Like
And it's very alarming when you are like, oh, I don't know if I'm going to have enough feed. We
and
do, but yeah.
it's quite a like there's a lot to that to have enough feed for everything like bought at the right time because there are times like right now I always get a kick out of we get people that phone and say, oh, do you have some feed for sale? And a lot of times we do have some extra feed, but
Like
it's
we have feed, but it's not for sale.
but if we
We have to
wanted
feed
like
our
if I
cows.
wanted to buy enough to feed 400 cows for a month, it might not be available. Like everything has to be planned out and strategically set aside to have that feed for those animals. And I think a lot of people don't understand that with
The work that goes
the
into,
planning and everything that it takes to put that meat on the shelf when they want it.
Yeah, you really have to maximize your acreage. And I know that you've invested in you didn't get too much into your crop production. It was a lot about the livestock, but um, because we've done a lot of field days at your place specifically speaking about crop production, but I know you've put a lot of resources and investments towards optimizing your efficiency on like every acre that you have. And those things include pivots, for example, and crop selection and knowing what energy units you're getting, because you really need to stockpile those right ingredients for the cow smoothie every morning through the winter.
Yes. Yeah, exactly.
To put it in
Yeah.
kid
No,
terms.
yeah.
yeah. Well, thank you for letting us give you a tour.
Well, it's fantastic. I'm definitely putting this in our next newsletter. So for those who missed it live, they can hopefully at least know that this will be available. And thank you so much for all your work and for educating kids, the general public, and everything else about a day in the life of a ranch and a farm. I learned something. The food blender every morning in the winter was my main takeaway, and it was a livestock smoothie. So thank you so much, and good luck with how many more cows do you have to calve out?
I think we have 67 left to go. So we're on the downward slope. So it's getting easier.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
congratulations to both of you. It's a ton of work. That's
Thanks, Rachel.
obvious.
Thank
And
you.
appreciate your time and have a wonderful evening.
You as
Thanks,
well.
Rachel. You
Thank
too.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Bye.
Great.